Radhe World Raisers, Sabina and Roger here. Let's watch Saint MeeraBai, devotee of Krishna, by the channel The Hindu Saga. It was a request by our wonderful subscriber and supporter Anjali. She's been requesting to cover for us to cover female saints, and how do you say? Yeah, saint is a name. Yeah. Since ages, and I can't wait to actually do that too, to get more into the female aspect and the female energy, and it's gonna be like really enriching for this channel. Anyways, please hit the like and subscribe button, and let's start.
Born in the early 15th century, Meerabai was a Krishna devotee of the highest order.
50.
She was born a princess, but gave up the pleasures of palace for begging on the streets of Vrindavan. Meerabai was a Rajput princess and the only child of Ratan Singh, who was the younger brother to the ruler of Meerta, one of the prosperous kingdoms of Rajasthan. Meera was only 3 years old when a wandering saint came to her house. As per the Hindu tradition, the saint was welcomed and treated with a lot of respect by the royals. On his arrival, he placed his statue of Lord Krishna in the room that was given to him by his guru. When Meera arrived into the room with her grandmother, the first thing that caught her attention was the statue of Lord Krishna. Nobody noticed when she walked past her grandmother and sat in front of the statue of Krishna, seemingly attracted to Krishna. The saint was impressed by the welcome and the treatment he had received, and asked Meera's grandmother what would she like in return. While his intention was to give her the blessing she wanted, Meera jumped into the conversation and said that she wanted the statue of Krishna. In a matter of minutes, when Meera realized that the saint was not in favor of giving her the statue, she broke down to tears. No amount of tantrums or tears could convince the sage to give away the statue of his god, gifted to him by his guru. He blessed the family, picked up the statue, and began to walk away. Suddenly, the sage had a change of heart, as if he was told by Krishna himself that this is where the statue belonged, to Meera. He turned and gave the statue to little Meera and left the palace. From that day, everything in little Meera's life revolved around her Krishna. She would speak with the statue for hours, wouldn't eat until she fed her Krishna, and dressed her idol all day long. On one occasion, when Meera was still young, she saw a wedding procession going down the street. Turning to her mother, she asked in innocence, "Who will be my husband?" Her mother replied casually, with lack of any seriousness, "You already have your husband, Krishna." Meera's mother was supportive of her daughter's blossoming love for Krishna, but she passed away when Meera was 10 years of age. At an early age, Meera's father arranged for her to be married to Prince Bhojraj, who was the eldest son of Rana Saga of Chittor. They were an influential Rajput family, and the marriage significantly elevated Meera's social position. However, Meera was unwilling to get married, as she had already found her husband in Krishna.
Beautiful.
But she knew the world would never understand her emotions, and under the pressure of her family's reputation, she agreed to marry. She served her husband Bhojraj dutifully, but in the evening, she would spend her time in devotion and singing to her beloved Krishna. While singing devotional bhajans, she would frequently lose awareness of the world, entering states of ecstasy and trance.
Beautiful.
Her new family did not approve of her love and devotion to Krishna. To make things worse, Meera refused to worship their family deity, also known as Ishtadevi, Durga. She said that she had already committed herself to Sri Krishna. Her family became increasingly disapproving of her actions, but the fame and saintly reputation of Meerabai spread throughout the region. Often, she would spend her time discussing spiritual issues with sadhus, and people would join in the singing of her bhajans. However, this just made her family even more embarrassed of her actions. Meera's sister-in-law Udabai began spreading false gossip to defame Meera. She said Meera was entertaining men in her room in the name of worshipping Krishna. Her husband, believing these stories to be true, stormed into her room with a sword in hand. However, he only saw Meera singing to the statue of Krishna. No man was there at all. Throughout these private and public insults, Meera Bai remained unmoved by both the criticism and the praise of the world.
Nice.
Meera's fame spread far and wide, and her devotional bhajans were sung across the northern India. In one account, it is said that the fame and spirituality of Meera Bai reached the ears of the Mughal Emperor Akbar. Akbar was tremendously powerful, but he was also very interested in various religious paths.
Nice.
The problem was that Rajputs and Mughals were the worst of enemies. To visit Meera Bai would cause problems for both Akbar and Meera Bai. But Akbar was determined to see the princess saint, Meera Bai. Disguised in the clothes of beggar, he travelled with Tansen to visit Meera Bai. Akbar was so captivated by her soulful music and devotional singing that he placed at her feet a priceless necklace before leaving. In the course of time, Akbar's visit came to the ears of her husband, Bhojraj. He was furious that a Muslim and his own enemy had set eyes upon his wife. He ordered Meera Bai to commit suicide by drowning in a river.
Holy smoke.
Meera Bai intended to honor her husband's command, but as she entered the river, Sri Krishna appeared to her and commanded to her to leave to Vrindavan, where she could worship him in peace. So with a few followers, Meera Bai left for Vrindavan, where she spent her time in devotion to Krishna. After a while, her husband became regretful, feeling that his wife was indeed a real saint. So he travelled to Vrindavan and requested her to return. Meera Bai forcefully agreed, much to the displeasure of the rest of the family. Soon after, Meera Bai's husband died fighting against the Mughals. This made the situation even worse for Meera Bai. Her father-in-law, Rana Sanga, saw her husband's death as a way to get rid of Meera. He commanded her to commit sati, a process where the wife commits suicide by throwing herself on the husband's funeral fire.
Wow.
However, Meera Bai, with the direct inner assurance of her beloved Sri Krishna, said that she would not do sati. Her real husband Sri Krishna had not died. After this experience, her family continued to torture her. They restricted her movements and sought to make her life as miserable as possible. It is said that twice her family tried to kill her, once through a venomous snake and once through a poisonous drink. On both occasions, it is said that Meera Bai, protected by the grace of Sri Krishna, faced no harm. Eventually, upon the advice of learned men and saints, Meera slipped out of the palace and escaped to the holy city of Vrindavan, where she was free to worship Krishna to her heart's content. Even learned sadhus would come to her for inspiration. There is a story of one such respected spiritual master who refused to speak to Meera Bai because she was a woman. Meera Bai replied that there was only one real man in Vrindavan, which was Sri Krishna. Everyone else was a gopi of Krishna. On hearing this, the spiritual master accepted the wisdom of Meera Bai and agreed to talk to her. Later, Meera Bai would become his student.
Oh, wow.
Beautiful.
It is said that in her death, she miraculously disappeared by merging into an idol of Krishna. One day, she was singing in a temple when Sri Krishna appeared in his subtle form. Sri Krishna was so pleased with his dearest devotee that he opened his heart and Meera Bai merged with Krishna while in the highest state of Krishna consciousness.
Wow.
Well, I definitely was not expecting that. That was an incredibly moving story of, this woman's journey into Krishna consciousness. Absolutely fascinating and, incredible, right? So a princess, I'm just still shell-shocked. I'm kind of blown away by the whole story, right?
You moved too, hey?
Yeah, like So this is, kind of what we're missing in today's world. And it's just, well, also missing and not missing, because there is some really advanced spiritual beings out there. And it seems like, yeah, they have so much adversity and hardship, right? So, and I'm a little bit confused by, the treatment of the other family, not recognizing, okay, well, she's, a Krishna devotee, and just because they're, who was it? Durga devotees, so not being able to see that, hey, it's okay if she's worshiping Krishna, as another representation of the absolute should have been, totally okay. So it just shows, the ignorance that, anybody who's not enlightened or a true devotee or a true seeker on the path, we're just so much ignorance in the world all around, even back then at that time, which I guess is still fairly recent.
1500. Yeah. I just want to talk about that. Because what crossed my mind was, well, if she understands Krishna as God and everything, all there is, and then she could just also worship Durga as Krishna. Because it's just another manifestation of Krishna.
Yeah.
Technically. But I also think it's beautiful that she says no in a way. I don't know. There's something to it. Even though one could argue, so everything is Krishna, why can't she just accept Durga in the form of Krishna? Does that make sense or not?
I think that the devotion of the pure bhakti was kind of beyond any sort of ego, interference. So there could have been a skillful means of doing that as well. But I think that it painted a very great lesson in the end of just being pure, to one deity. And then, because then you could argue that, it doesn't matter, right? So why make a compromise and then worship both deities when people should actually, in reality, we need to be okay with people worshiping whichever deity as the primary, deity. And then, and it's because it's, it's almost like, and I see it as being a pure devotee on the path of bhakti, where she probably wasn't gathering all sorts of intellectual information, which is why towards the end of the story, she became the student of a guru and a sage, right? To maybe get some of the intellectual, capacities, but because she was a Krishna devotee at such a young age, and then so it's just a pure loving devotion, of a saint. So then when another deity comes up, she probably doesn't have that capacity to be like, okay, well, it really is Krishna as well, manifesting in a different form. Everything is Krishna. No, she's just pure bhakti towards, Rupjan, towards, the form of Krishna himself. And then to the point where Krishna is her husband.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely amazing. I can't even explain what I'm feeling right now. I mean, you know me.
Yeah.
Bhakti stories they just knock me out. So very beautiful. And I absolutely love that this was a woman. I'm so looking forward watching more female saints. They just bring in this different quality of being, this, I don't know, this nourishing, this, I don't know, and yet powerful, gentle energy.
Yeah, just the overwhelming obstacles, right? Wanting her to commit suicide and then jump on the fire and then actually trying to murder her a couple times.
Yeah, you know what?
Oh, jeez.
That, I don't know, it just almost like relaxed me because, that's what's happening nowadays too. And it always seemed to have happened. Like it never, it's normal. Like it's almost like not a big deal. It cannot be otherwise. Because that's just samsara, there are different forces at play, and there will always be good and evil in samsara, and and it's almost like we need these opponent forces in order to I don't know, it just makes it so much more powerful, her devotion, you know, totally unswayed by whatever is happening, but whatever people say. Like, she knew where she was going and what was right for her, and praise, blame, nothing mattered. It was like, wow, single-pointed focus on Krishna. It's just mind-blowing.
Yeah. And then merging into the idol of Krishna at the end, where he opened the heart, and then she merged with him in pure Krishna consciousness. Yeah, that was incredible. That's mind-blowing. So absolutely loved this video. It was, amazing.
Anjali, I can see Anjali like a little Meera Bai.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. She loves Krishna.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she started watching us when we did Little Krishna, right?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know when exactly you joined us, Anjali.
Yeah, let us know. Because, you've been with us for a while, and we love your positivity and your devotion, you know,
towards Krishna is incredible.
Oh,
it's very inspiring.
Totally.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Yeah. So amazing video. Thank you so much for joining us. And thank you, Anjali, for bearing with us and being patient. And we're so fortunate to have you with us and to recommend such beautiful and wonderful videos, because who knows how long it would have been before we came across Meera Bai. Absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
So thank you all so much for joining us. Let us know what you think down in the comments. And remember, the most important thing is to raise yourself
and raise the world. Thank you so much, everyone. And a very special thank you, to Anjali. We love you.
Peace.